Hello, this is Kalin Bakshi, and we're talking about the SYC program, the Sampurna Yoga Chi. And so far, we have seen, defined it to what the concept was, and also we went through what the yoga, various possibilities, how you think about yoga, and also went a little bit over Taichi and Qigong. This particular section is intended to give you a pictorial view of the Ashtanga Yoga, or 8 limbs, and also the 4 pillars, 8 limbs of the yoga and 4 pillars for the Tai Chi and Qigong. So let's begin. It's very simple in a way. Yama. Let's begin with the yoga part. Yama means values, whatever value system we have, we grow up with. And these are the value system that we're going to work with and get a little bit more refined in them, express them in the world, and be able to really create a humanitarian situation the way we want to do for SYC. These values are there and many times are forgotten, and so we talk about that. The next one is niyama. Niyama is discipline. Develop a discipline, not only mental, but physical. Discipline are different types of discipline. We want to make sure that we are disciplined in all our timings, in our relationship, in how we do it in terms of, our day-to-day activities. Then comes pratyahara. Pratyahara is basically control of senses. Now, I will start comparing it with Tai Chi and Qigong in a very similar fashion. In Qigong, the initial energy is there, and then it comes into control of senses. Watching the senses is what Qigong does. Watching what is happening with the eyes, watching you become a witness. In Qigong, you become a witness, but in order to become a witness, you have to focus on one energy or the other, one faculty or the other. So when I'm listening to it, I'm listening very intently. I'm very quiet within my own self, and I'm listening. That's the Qigong part. Indirectly, that's still the control of senses, because what we are doing is we are focusing on this whole aspect. So pratyahara, or control of senses, is similar. Now it's obvious that value system and discipline remain constant for any system of practice, and I don't think there's going to be any differences in the Chinese cosmology philosophy as well. So now we go to the asanas, or postures. Now postures are something that we talked about a little bit as to creation of various body movements and body postures, where we work with 2 or 3 aspects of the physical sense. It can be flexibility, it can be balance, it can be strength, and also range of motion, etc. All these things. Now, imagine that the asana are usually fixed. They are at a static level. Any of the asana you do is a posture that is shown in yoga, and Hatha yoga is an example of it. However, in order to get to that, say a tree posture, you have to do certain movements in order to get to the tree posture, and balance yourself, and then stay in that balance. So now, that's the asana part, the physical part. Where does the Tai Chi and Qigong come in? Tai Chi and Qigong is the intention to get to that level, is the movement. Say, for example, I'm going to go up there to the heaven area and look up, and I stop there for a second. Now that's a movement that is typical, seen as the just temporarily holding that posture. We do that in Qigong and Tai Chi as well, but the focus and the emphasis is on the movement part. So in the asana part also, it is very similar that we're talking about. The next is the pranayam. Pranayam is very simple. It's just a breath, or chi, or vitality. Breath carries all these things forward. For example, if the breath is controlled, then you can control the posture, you can control the various your faculties or the reception from the 5 senses, all that may control, and you can develop a discipline and focus on the value system. So breath works this way. Breath also works down this way. You'll see this is a central focus here. And this is the whole idea in SYC, which is breath focus, you will see. Then we next one we go to, and there are many breath practices in yoga as well as in Qigong that we will be talking about practicing all throughout the whole course in SYC. Dharana is developing a focus. Focus, dhyana is concentration, and samadhi is basically an attention, and what we're talking about developing in an inquiry state. There are three portions that come into here. This is the focus. A focus is nothing but you have lots of thoughts and lots of situations. You're slowly going down to one point. Like, for example, a stream is there and the stream of thoughts, and you slowly focus into one thought. Or it could be focusing into a posture, focusing into a breath. I'm inhaling, I'm exhaling. I'm focusing into the mechanics of breath. Supposing I hold my breath, this is happening with yoga as well as for the Taichi or Qigong. I inhale, I'm holding it now. Now I'm focused with the mind. The mind is what works into this area. The mind focuses on different objects. And wherever the mind goes, the energy will also go. That's the Qigong principle. And it's also the same thing in yoga. So when you create that focus, that's great. Now, dharana is the focus. Dhyana is concentration. What is concentration? How long are you able to focus on it? How many thoughts can you focus on it? What are the various aspects of it? And concentration along goes with also another faculty, which is called as so we're talking about two things here: focus, concentration, and being able to keep that long enough to create what is known as attention. So focus, concentration, attention. And attention is basically how long can you stay there with multiple thoughts coming together in one focus. Mind is the same way. Now, for example, if you have a posture, how long can you stay in the posture? If you're doing a little movement in Tai Chi and Qigong, just momentary pause there, and how the movement can go blend into one another. That exact understanding is the dhyana part. And then the samadhi part. Samadhi part is the investigation. This is where we start joining the Qigong as well as the yoga part. Samadhi is the investigation of who we are, what's the identity, and all that. And so, come down to it, this is the actual meditation part where we investigate what the source of the energy is, who we are, why we are, what is happening, how we are able to manifest in the world, etc., etc. And so self-realization, we call that Brahman. Brahman in yoga philosophy, or Wuji. As we can see, Wuji, I've written it here, Wuji. That Wuji is the thing that is the final entity, which may be the source of everything, which causes everything, which is manifests into various things, but the actual nature of it is not very well known. And so all we do is we are having the journey, and the journey occurs at this level. Now, I've already gone through these. So you can Tai Chi and Qigong, there are 4 pillars. We are covering all these 4 anyway. I've covered that during the description here. Breath is the first, obviously, and that's right here. Right here, pranayama. Breath, movement. I talked about the movement. Tai Chi is the movement to go to stillness. And various movements that come in, and all the Tai Chi practices are based on these 4 principles. Then massage. Massage is a special thing that happens in Tai Chi and Qigong, where when you do the massages, the energy flow happens to be streamlined properly. And when the energy flow is streamlined properly within the body, we know that a function of the organ or function of the mind becomes much more easier. Clutter of thoughts can also be adjusted from this. This massage part is very special. And what's fascinating about it is that we have Chinese philosophy that says if the energy is not sufficient or there's blockage. Most of the Chinese philosophy cosmology says, and Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine says that disease happens when you have a blockage of energy flow. If the energy flow is not proper, you get a disease. And this is what helps a lot. Everything else helps too. Movement also helps and breath also helps. But massage is a special technique. That is massage externally. We can use our hands. We can use massages each other, or number of ways to do the massages. And then the last is meditation or mindfulness. That's right here. Mindfulness is all this. Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. This 6, 7, 8 is right here. And so, and when the 8, beyond the 8, where the Brahman is going on, the source of everything, that's the Wuji part. How about that? So we have a complete parallel to the yoga systems, the 8-limb yoga systems of Patanjali. This is what we're following. And the 4 pillars in the Qigong. So welcome aboard, and we'll see some practices, and you'll be practicing with us on a regular basis. And the next few videos, you will see how we integrate all this in simple, easy practices that anyone can do. You have to remain in green zone, not a very, push yourself beyond too much that you have a situation afterwards, and yet get the maximum benefit. So that's the whole idea in the totality concept about using both the systems going forward.